Hello and welcome back to the Gold Newsletter channel. My name is Kai Hoffman. I'm the EdJR mining guy over on X. Together with our very good friend Brian London, I'm the host of the Gold Newsletter channel, and I'm looking forward to welcoming Thomas Mumford. He's the VP Exploration over at Scottie Resources, and we've had his, well, on paper, he's his boss. On the program, Brad Rourke, but we're going to talk to the brains of the operation now, and really looking forward to catching up with him because we're going to talk about the recent drill results. We'll catch up on 2024. How did the drill season go? What is it going to all lead to? Because I hear there's a resource in the works. We're going to quiz him on timing. What does it look like? What does he expect? Where are some opportunities to optimize maybe some of the drilling or some of the results that we've just seen yesterday come out? Like, are they flowing into the resource? So I'm going to ask him all of that. If you haven't done so, hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out tremendously, reach a wider investor audience. We tremendously appreciate that. Now, without much further ado, Thomas, it is great to have you on the program. It's first time guest here on the Gold Newsletter. It's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Guy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I teasered, you're the brains behind the operation. Brad is the face, you're the brains. So it's great to have you on, Thomas, because we got to talk about, maybe we'll start with the 2024 drill season and exploration season at the Scottie Gold project. Recap it for us a little bit. What went well, and maybe perhaps what didn't go so well? What did you learn?
Yeah, it was a good season for us. So we drilled just over 10,000 meters this past season. We got our drilling. We were only expecting to get about 7,000 meters, but drilling production was up quite a bit higher than previous years. So we were able to drill more with the same budget. So squeaked an extra 3,000 meters out of the program. And really, we went in the program with the biggest objective was we wanted to put out a resource this year. And so we wanted to do it on the old Scottie Gold Mine, as well as the Blueberry Contact Zone. So those were our two main focuses of drilling. And then we had a few exploration targets in addition to those outside of those two zones that we focused on. So a lot of the initial drilling was on both Blueberry and the Scottie Gold Mine. And then we kind of stepped out from there, looking at our further afield exploration targets on the project.
Yeah, no, fantastic. You just put out drill results yesterday. It's probably the last holds from the program. If it was from the Blueberry Contact, so I just opened it here, 7 grams over 14.4 meters. You just inched over the 100 gram meter mark here. It's just like, I had to do the math earlier. It's like 102, yeah. So you just limped over that line. But to run us a bit through those results, like how do they fit with the overall model? What does it tell you?
Yeah, so those were results based on what the modelers were requesting. So we had done a lot of our exploration style drilling around Blueberry, expanding in different zones. And at the same time, we had the resource modelers, a third-party group, come in and look at our results from the past, start modeling things up. And they had some areas that they wanted to have a little bit more info in order to make it part of the resource coming through. And so these were holes chosen by the resource modelers. So it was great to have these come back as good as they did. 100 gram meter hits all day long at Blueberry. It works really well with our model, and these are definitely going to be part of the resource coming out.
Oh yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I was going to ask you. So because they only came out yesterday, they will still be able to be included in the resource model? Because he said it's the modelers that asked for those holes. What were they looking for? What were they missing? Just confirmation that it's continuous, or?
Well, just making sure it was within their drill spacing for that, and then some continuity questions along the Blueberry Contact Zone. So this hole was definitely very reassuring to them.
Oh, I bet, because 7 grams over 14 meters, that should help with the resource grade in general as well. No, that sounds interesting, and maybe timing of the resource now, like, and what's going into it. Maybe you can elaborate a bit, like. Resources coming up soonish. I don't have a date. Maybe you can share, but sure. I'm curious, like what went into it there, Thomas?
Yeah, so we have the old Scottie Gold Mine, and we drilled that for the first number of years within the project, and then we made the discovery of the Blueberry Contact Zone. And so what the resource is we went back into the old Scottie Gold Mine. When they shut down the mine in the 1980s, they had about 2 years of reserves ahead of them at quite a high grade, above 10 gram per ton cutoff grade. So what we were doing, we were going into old sections of the old mine areas to drill those, to include those into the resource, as well as any expansionary areas that we had identified fairly near to the existing shapes. And then on Blueberry, there has been no resource. So it was kind of making sure that everything that we drilled up to this point that we were able to include was going to be includable in this. So making sure that our gaps between different drill holes and the pierce points there was within that realm of what we can include in an inferred or an indicated resource. As far as timing goes, we are projecting that we're going to be able to publish a resource, at least be able to news release it around the PDAC, and then the actual technical report would be in within 45 days after that.
Yeah, no, PDSC is at the beginning of March. I think it's March 2nd to March 5th, I believe. So I'm scheduling for the Monday, Thomas, like
Okay.
Monday, which is the
Monday
3rd, I
release.
believe. So
Yeah.
no, fantastic. Like it's like, let's talk about the wildcat holes that you drilled a little bit. Like
Sure.
maybe let's elaborate. Like Blueberry and Scottie are well-known areas.
Yeah.
Elaborate a bit on the wildcat areas. Like what's the cherry
Yeah.
on top here for us?
Well, I think we had two areas that we were really testing this year. One of them was what we call the not the wolf zone, sorry, the a steep zone, or golden buckle zone, kind of what we've titled it. It's located between our C and D zones and the Scottie gold mine, which both of those are also between the Blueberry. And it's kind of our larger scale exploration trend of targeting deposits on the property that are kind of in a periphery around the, there's a large intrusion on the property. Blueberry, Scottie, Bend, Domino, everything is within a few hundred meters of the margin of that contact. And this one was a new discovery at surface. We had a couple grab samples from surface and outcrop that ran, I think, 17, 20 grams a ton. And so these were the first drill holes following up on those superficial discoveries. So we made the surface discovery last year, and then this was the first year that we drilled it in 2024. So that was one zone that we're targeting. The other one was around the Scottie gold mine. So all the drilling historically at Scottie, well, before Scottie Resources came into it, drilling at the Scottie gold mine was almost entirely all done from underground. When we came into it, Scottie, we started drilling it from surface, and we were largely drilling it from the north to the south. This year, in order to make a targeted approach on one certain vein set, we actually drilled from the south to the north. And when we did that, to hit the target that we were hitting, it was a long hole, it was about 700 meters long. We ended up going through a huge swath of rock that we'd never drilled before. And we ended up discovering a new vein zone titled the Wolf Zone, which is about 5 meters of 6 grams a ton. So that was a nice discovery for us. And that's pretty far field, but obvious, easy exploration upside. It's close to the existing mine. It's got the grades supported for an underground operation. It's something that we'll follow up on next year. And we've left the drill pad up. So those will be some of the first holes, exploration style holes that we drill in 2025.
Yeah. Well, you just touched on it. So sort of my next question is like, what does next or this year's program look like? I know you're busy modeling the resource right now, I'm sure, or assisting the resource modelers here. But, and I know the company hasn't put out any like guidance, or not guidance, like exploration update yet for the year. But where would you like to drill? Like, what would Thomas do?
Thomas has a lot of targets that he would like to drill. Yeah, there's no shortage of meters. You know, we've got exploration targets. We've got this upcoming resource of which we think we can actually dramatically increase with future drilling through both the existing deposits that we've identified, but and expanding them, but as well along the structure that I was just describing along the outside margin of this intrusion. So we've got these, known targets that we want to expand. We've got these more wildcat style targets, or a little bit more adventurous targets that we'd love to drill. And then we've got the ability to do infill drilling on the deposit to bring it up to indicate it so that we can go from a PEA to a pre-feasibility, for instance. So we are looking at the economics of this now. We're on a road, we've got power access along it. We're only 40 kilometers from a port. We are looking at other optionality on how we get to production on this and how do we monetize this. And so I think you'll see with us that we're going to go after a PEA fairly quickly on this, and maybe use a direct shipping ore model in order to pursue that.
You will have to elaborate on that. And I have a follow-up question, of course. Like when you talk about economics, you need to talk metallurgy. So two questions. A, what's the metallurgy and what's the testing there? And B, like explain DSO, because it's direct shipping ore is the acronym for, but explain that model to us a bit.
So direct shipping ore means you're not really milling it at site. You're not creating tailings. You're shipping a product in a raw form to another site. And so for us, we are one of a very few number of mines in the world that are within proximity to a shipping facility. So there's a shipping facility in the town of Stewart. Brucejack ships a concentrate out of there. Red Chris ships a concentrate out of there. So we're in a very unique position with that. And the grades that we have support a model where we could ship basically raw product rocks without having to mill them or concentrate them appreciably right out of port. To supplement that, we are in the process of doing an ore sorting study in order to see if we could do a bit of upgrading of the existing rocks and what will come out in the resource in order to amplify the economic benefits of doing a direct shipping ore model.
Sorry, I muted myself because I was coughing. No, it's like, but Thomas, metallurgy, real quick. Is it amenable? Like when you look at ore sorting or so, is the metallurgy amenable to what you mentioned?
We would expect so. So we don't have any results yet, so I can't really say forward with that. Now, the ore deposit itself is pyrrhotite pyrite. So pyrrhotite is magnetic. Both pyrrhotite and pyrite are sulfide rich or sulfides, so their density is higher. So these are some of the things that are quite amenable to ore sorting, so that the deposit should be pretty well suited to doing this with it. So early indications are that this should work for us, but we don't have any numbers yet on that ore sorting upgrade factor.
Maybe last question here, Thomas, real quick. Funding. Like, what does it look like? In the kitty. Are you funded for 2025? Do we have to worry about a raise next week?
Yeah, so we've got $7 million right now in the kitty in hard dollars. We love to drill with charity flow through dollars in a general sense, just to not have to deal with that dilution. But $7 million would get us 2 years of G&A at the current rate, as well as another 10,000 meter drill program. So we're set up for another program. We're not going to be forced into a financing position. The only reason we would do a financing is because we have something additional to offer with it.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, maybe I'm reading a bit wrong between the lines here, but if there was flow-through financing available for the summer, you might consider taking that.
Yeah, it would be an option we would want to consider.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it'd be advantageous to our shareholders, and anything in addition to that would be obviously very selective.
No, fantastic. Thomas, standard closing question, of course, upcoming catalysts, maybe just to summarize what we just talked about. Next up, of course, resource update. What is it, March 3rd? I don't know. Just like based on what I said earlier. So
Yeah, so we got that. And then I think you're going to see our ore sorting results after that. And then following that, we would like to see it all go into PEA as long as the preceding steps are favorable.
No, fantastic. Thomas, great update. Really looking forward to the resource. I know you're a PGO. I can't grill you more on the resource because I know your lips are sealed. So I don't want to get you in any trouble here as well, but we'll catch up latest at PDAC. We'll make an effort to connect and to catch up on the resource. So we'll definitely report on that. Thomas, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Gold Newsletter. And to everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this update with the VP Exploration of Scottie Resources, Thomas Mumford. He's really the brains behind the operation. I think Brett admits that as well, because Thomas is the geologist. Brett is just a fantastic company operator here. So make sure to check out the company as well. Drill results were fantastic. I'm personally looking forward to that first initial resource. I have a number in my head, and I think it's low 7 digits. So we'll see if we get to that point. It looks pretty promising in my opinion. So we'll see what the real number looks like. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with lots more here on the Gold Newsletter channel. Thank you.